This episode of the BlockHash Podcast is brought to you by Sumsub, the leading full-cycle verification platform built specifically for the crypto industry. Trusted by 8 out of the 10 biggest global exchanges, Sumsub helps VASPs, exchanges, and DeFi platforms prevent fraud, stay compliant, and scale globally, all without slowing down user onboarding. With instant KYC and KYB automated crypto transaction monitoring and full travel rule compliance across a network of more than 1,800 VASPs. Sumsub adapts fast to evolving threats and regulations. They verify over 14,000 document types worldwide and onboard users in under 20 seconds, achieving conversion rates up to 95% plus in key markets. If you want secure growth and a frictionless onboarding experience for your users, visit sumsub.com to learn more.
Well, Kat, welcome. Appreciate you taking the time. Welcome to ETHDenver as well.
Yeah.
How's it been going so far? You've been getting around to see any companies while you're here or talk to anybody, or how's it been so far? Just kind of getting here this morning.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of meetings for sure, like one-on-one FaceTime stuff, which is always great about these conferences. The energy here is very different than it has been the last couple of years. I think it's a lot more intimate, and like the OGs are here for sure, which is kind of, I think, bear market vibes in general. But it's been cool to like connect with everyone and see how many builders are still in the space. I think like if you pay attention to Twitter, it seems like a lot of people are leaving or pivoting into AI or shutting down. And, you know, of course, that's definitely true, but it's cool to see how many people are still around.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, I think, that decided to show up like last minute. I don't know why, but like I saw a huge wave of people on X like, oh, I'm going to ETHDenver, I'm coming. I'm like, why'd you wait like a week until?
That always happens. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not going. And then right at the last minute, everyone FOMOs in. So.
Yeah, and it's a weird point in the market. It's clearly in a bearish cycle right now, but it's cool to see people still coming out and participating. And I think it's much different than it has been in the past. So it's fun to see that. Plus, I've never been to ETHDenver before, so this is my first time.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Because I'm sure you go to other conferences.
I've been in this room doing recordings and in the press lounge, so I haven't seen a whole lot yet, but I've walked through and just typical Web3 vibes, you know, everyone doing their own unique thing. I saw some people in pajamas. I saw a mascot. It's lively. It's fun. Can't go bored.
ETHDenver is definitely a little bit like kookier, I think, than others. Like everyone really kind of gets down to the roots of like crypto culture, which is cool.
Yeah, I think I'll see more of it over the next couple of days, but yeah, looking forward to it. Anyways, Kat, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. Would love to know maybe your story and how you kind of got into the space. Everyone's got an interesting one, and then how did that also kind of lead to Space and Time? Yeah,
so I'm Chief Marketing Officer for Space and Time. I've been here almost 4 years now, which is crazy to say because it's like a lifetime in crypto years. It was really my big entree into crypto. Was working full-time for Space and Time. I had kind of dabbled just myself before that. I had like graduated college and was kind of starting to think about like what to do with my own money and what to invest in. And this was like DeFi summer, so obviously Ethereum was kind of up and coming and really hot. And so I started to dip my toes into that. And then at the same time, my friend of like 20 years, Scott Dykstra, who was one of the co-founders of Space and Time, reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm doing this blockchain startup and it's really new and, you know, kind of getting off the ground and I need someone to come run marketing. And at the time I was working at a marketing agency that serviced the semiconductor industry, which I don't know how much you know about the semiconductor industry, but it is like in many ways the opposite of crypto in that it's extremely slow moving, extremely like legacy tech oriented, a lot of like old dudes, frankly. And I was definitely looking for a change of pace and this was that. So I, you know, jumped in and never looked back. And now like I can't imagine working anywhere else and spending my time doing anything else. So.
Yeah, it is definitely an old legacy industry, isn't it? Semiconductors. There's a lot of tie-ins now with like decentralized AI and some of the things that are happening in space today. But
yeah, they're having to learn how to modernize. That was like one of the big challenges on the marketing side is like how do we break into the AI space, which is obviously, like you said, heavily intertwined with semiconductors. When that's, you know, our audience has traditionally been so legacy. So yeah, they've got interesting challenges as well. And it's a super interesting industry, but I like crypto more.
Yeah, crypto's more exciting.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what can you tell us about Space and Time and what you guys are all about and also what you guys are kind of up to so far in 2026?
Yeah, so we've been building for, like I said, almost 4 years now, actually over 4 years now. And for a long time, it was a lot of research and development to get our product to mainnet and to get live. And we got there in May of last year. And since then, we've been really focused on adoption, both on the developer side and also on like the enterprise and institutional side. So what Space and Time does kind of at a high level is secure data for smart contracts. So we've built this like decentralized database network that's all secured by a novel ZK proof for SQL, the language of databases. And what it does is it allows developers to essentially like ask questions about on-chain data, off-chain data, and deliver that to a smart contract, and just expands the design space of what smart contracts can become. And just, you know, more sophisticated on-chain finance, more sophisticated business logic in smart contracts, and more sophisticated businesses that you can build with it. So that's what we've been focused on. We've seen a lot of awesome adoption since mainnet went live. We're working with a lot of financial institutions who are interested in tokenized assets that need external data, stablecoin issuers who are interested in like calculating rewards for their stablecoin that is more compliant, I guess, than yield, which they're not allowed to do in a lot of jurisdictions, and using Space and Time as a way to like look over historical on-chain data and calculate rewards derived from that. DeFi protocols who are wanting to look at historical on-chain data and just like, you know, incorporate more sophisticated logic. And then just like a lot of developers that need secure, accurate, verifiable data. So yeah, that's kind of the TLDR, I guess.
Nice. That's one thing I was going to ask, is if there's any solutions in particular that you guys are focused on maybe scaling this year, or that you're seeing maybe trend a little bit more here in 2026. And then if there's any use cases also attached to that with you guys, maybe you can talk about.
Yeah, on the solution side, we're really, like, our product is very mature, and it's really well polished, and we really did things right and got things right before we launched. So on the product side, we're really focused on just smoothing the UX and the developer experience and making it as easy as possible for any client, whether they're an institution, a bank, you know, an issuer, or like a solo developer in DeFi, to onboard to Space and Time, to consume Space and Time data, to build smart contracts with Space and Time data. And so we've just kind of like stealth launched in beta a new version of the Space and Time app, which is like a front-end interface for doing all of this. And it's, I mean, I've done it myself. Like I, who have never touched, like I couldn't even look at a line of Solidity and tell you that it's Solidity. I've never done any kind of, any kind of on-chain development. Like literally launched a smart contract the other day that consumes Space and Time data just through like clicking through a nice little easy to use interface. So that's the big focus on the product side. Definitely looking forward to building that more out and getting more developer feedback on it. And on the use case side, I would say we're very heavily focused on financial use cases right now, just because that seems to be what there is appetite for in the market. So that being DeFi, and then also more of those institutional finance use cases. And we've seen a lot of success in both, and I think those are two things that don't go away when the market gets a little bit bearish. And so yeah, we're heads down building with them.
What's your perspective on the market from your position and working with some of these companies, kind of getting a feel for how they're acting and reacting in a bearish trend that's, I think, a bit different than what we've seen in the past? Yeah. What are you kind of seeing in terms of the market this cycle, and I think where things are kind of heading?
There's such a dichotomy, because if you are like heads down only in CT and only talking to crypto native people, like you think we're in crypto winter and it's so bearish and everyone's hopeless and everyone's leaving, and you know it's never going to turn around. Same thing as every bear market, right? But then you talk to the institutional guys and they don't feel that way at all. Like they're still bullish. They're still deploying capital. They're still expanding their resources within their organizations to focus more on blockchain and digital assets. So it's like this weird dichotomy of like, you know, I feel like maybe we're sometimes in our own little crypto bubble and we don't really zoom out enough. But I'm personally like perma optimistic, right? Even if we haven't quite broken out of the 4-year cycle and we are in a bear market for the next several months, which probably is true, like it is going to come back, and it's going to come back stronger than ever, like it always does. And I think the difference this time is we have real weight behind us on the institutional side, which is something we've all been talking about for years, and it's finally coming to fruition in the last year or so. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. And I think like maybe there's several more months where we all kind of have to just like batten down the hatches and bear the crypto winter, but it's always going to get better.
Time for a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Sumsub. Crypto is global, fast moving, and full of emerging threats. You need a verification partner that moves even faster. Sumsub combines blockchain intelligence, identity verification, and behavioral fraud detection into one powerful platform. You can screen, score, and monitor users at every step. Their AI-powered system detects anomalies, account takeovers, and illicit wallet activity before transactions hit the blockchain, giving your compliance team superpowers. Trusted by 4,000 plus clients across fintech and crypto, Sumsub helps organizations expand into new markets with confidence while maintaining full compliance with global regulations. Whether you're scaling an exchange, launching a DeFi product, or securing a Web3 community, Sumsub has you covered. Check them out at sumsub.com.
Yeah, the institutional side has been very interesting because we've kind of wanted it for so long, and now that it's here, it's like people are like having this like, did we want this? Is there a regret here? Or like, how's it like changing the space? And obviously we've seen a lot of that happen in the past year and a half. What do you think in terms of like the institutional side being more involved, whether it's banks and fintechs or payment processors or asset managers? Do you think that's overall net healthy for the space right now?
I really do. I think it's net positive. And I understand, especially people who were around for DeFi Summer and are more like decentralization maxi, I understand why it's a little bit of a pain point and there's some hesitation there. It's like, we all worked so hard for this ethos and like we all believe in it so much, and is this really in line with that? But I do think like it is a net positive overall. There's just so much capital in that space that comes into our space when the big boys get involved, and it just opens up more opportunities, right? Like for your bags, but also for the things that we're all building.
Right.
Like Space and Time, for example, like we've opened up an entire new customer base and customer profile with the institutions coming on board. And so our business continues to scale and thrive even through this bear market because of those institutional customers. And I know the same is true of Chainlinks and the Uniswaps of the world, like the real builders in the space. So I think it's good. I mean, I understand the hesitation, but I do think we'll look back on this in 5 years and be glad that it happened.
So what brings you to ETHDenver? Are you guys kind of looking for partners in the space? Are you looking to collaborate? Are you just connecting with the community at large? I don't know if there's much of an institutional presence at ETHDenver, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe there is. What sort of things are you guys looking for?
Yeah, I definitely have not, I mean, also maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely have not seen a lot of institutional guys here. But I think, for us, especially with all the efforts we're taking to smooth out the developer experience, we're just looking to connect with the developer community. And Ethereum, I think, still has the best one in crypto. And so yeah, just like face-to-face with developers, kind of getting them onboarded to Space and Time, getting them familiar with the solution, and also just, connecting with partners that we've had for a long time and always open to new opportunities as well.
Awesome. And then what's on the roadmap for Space and Time in 2026? Any updates, launches, new partnerships, things people should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, definitely focused on the institutional side. So we've got some exciting initiatives being cooked with some banks in the space that, we'll announce eventually, as well as stablecoin issuers. And then one thing that we're working on, which is kind of, I guess, tangential but external to the financial use cases, is we're working with a corporation called Indomobile. It's like this massive conglomerate in Southeast Asia, and we're working on a verifiable education initiative with them to give students in Indonesia, both K through 12 and university students, access to Space and Time as a way to like store and verify course credentials and degrees.
That's cool.
Which is a really big problem in a lot of these countries, that are not as connected to the global economy as like the US is, for example. A lot of institutions and employers don't necessarily recognize their credentials, or the record keeping system is really flawed and the schools lose it, or they're faking it. There's a lot of problems with record keeping there. And so Space and Time, as like a database blockchain, essentially gives these institutions and these students the ability to like record the courses and record the credentials on Space and Time, and for anyone to verify it anywhere in the world. So we've got like 100,000 students onboarded to this already, and we're looking to expand into new markets in Japan and the US and the UK. So that's a cool one that's like, not necessarily core to like what we would normally talk about on the financial side, but also just like a really good use case for space and time.
Education's important, right?
100%, yeah.
That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, totally.
Where can people go to learn more about space and time? Where's the best place to consume information? Is it the website? Do you have blogs, socials?
Yeah. Spaceandtime.io is kind of the central hub. You'll find our blog. You'll find links to, the app to build on Space and Time, where you can stake your SXT, anything you need from there. The blog, and then we're at Space and Time on X, and we've got links to Discord, Telegram, all of the different touch points with our community there.
Awesome. And then what's the onboarding process kind of like? There's a lot of institutions that do watch the show as well. They might be curious to work with you guys. Is there a process for that?
Yeah, head over to spaceandtime.io/contact. There's a form you can fill out. That's probably going to be easiest if you're mostly email based. But if you're, hip with it and on Telegram, you can also reach out to me at CatSXT, CATSXT.
Awesome. Well, Kat, I appreciate the time. It's been great getting to learn more about space and time, what you guys are focused on here at ETHDenver in this year, and hopefully we can do a part 2 relatively soon. So keep me up to date on everything that's going on. I'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.